Hello and welcome to Mythical Meeples. Today I'll be reviewing Mother Gothel from Disney Villainous. If you like my content, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. If you want to support me in other ways, you can also become a member of Mythical Meeples or support me on Patreon, where you'll gain access to extra content, sneak previews and behind the scenes. There's links below for both of those. However, as I said before, today I'll be reviewing Mother Gothel from Perfectly Wretched. Before I begin on Mother Gothel, I want to talk a little bit about Perfectly Wretched. So internally, this box feels very well balanced. All the villains are very similar in difficulty, and their condition cards harmonise well with the other villains in this box. However, I feel this box is much more challenging than the other ones within the range, although I enjoyed the challenge despite how frustrating it can be sometimes. Experienced players will definitely find Perfectly Wretched refreshing if they're getting bored of the game, although new players may struggle with it, especially if they're playing the villains from Perfectly Wretched against ones from other sets. So out of Perfectly Wretched, Wicked to the Core, Evil Comes Prepared, and the Worst Takes It All, Mother Gothel is in my opinion the hardest villain to play out of all these sets. Mother Gothel relies on thinking ahead, planning when to play cards and working out where Rapunzel is going to be on at least your next two turns, a situation that's likely to change when your opponent fates you. You need to play allies to defeat Rapunzel, usually several times over the course of a game, which means you can't use those allies to defeat other heroes. As Rapunzel is strength 4, other villains are also guaranteed to use their condition cards, such as Captain Hook's Opportunist or Ursula's Arrogance, whereas your condition card relies on heroes being strength 3, so it doesn't always come into play. The other condition card relies on other villains moving items or allies, which not all of the villains need to do to achieve their goal, so they may not do so. For these reasons and others, Mother Gothel is in the hard category out of easy, medium and hard. So my top 3 cards for Mother Gothel. A lot of Mother Gothel's cards directly pertain to her goal, either obtaining her trust or defeating heroes such as Rapunzel. So for this reason, whereas normally I wouldn't necessarily pick those directly related to the goal, for Mother Gothel I've had to because there's not been much choice. So the first cards are Patchy Stabbington and Sideburns Stabbington. So Patchy and Sideburns are your most effective ways to return Rapunzel to Rapunzel's tower, especially compared to other allies. Each can vanquish Rapunzel without the need for another ally, meaning you can save your player card action for other useful cards. They can also defeat Rapunzel if she has the frying pan attached to her, whereas it would require 3 royal guards or a royal guard and a royal rider to do so. Patchy and Sideburns can be used to return Rapunzel to her tower twice as well, first by being played to Rapunzel's location, and then later by being used to vanquish Rapunzel. I generally wait until Rapunzel is at Corona before playing them, as this sends Rapunzel back the furthest distance, and they're in the perfect place to vanquish. You'll also find when you've played this to a location, your opponent will be less likely to play heroes to that location, because these can just defeat them so easily. So if you've got Sideburns or Patchy at Corona, they'll be far more unlikely to put Flynn Rider there, because you can just defeat him straight away. The second card in my top 3 is Crown. For me, the Crown is best used to generate power for Mother Gothel, being the only card in your deck that grants you extra power. I like to play it at Corona. Rapunzel will move towards Corona throughout the course of the game, so by playing it there, you're guaranteeing that you'll vanquish a hero there. It can also be used as a little protection from being fated, as your opponent is less likely to place a hero to its location to prevent you from benefiting it. For this reason, it can also be good to play at Rapunzel's tower, as this is a useful spot for your opponents to cover, being one of your fate locations, and you'll move an item or ally location, which you'll need for the hairbrush. The crown does have another use, which is once only, and one I usually employ when Mother Gothel is nearing 10 trust. You can discard it when you vanquish a hero to gain 1 trust. This is especially useful if you combine it with the dagger or revenge, or if you can kill Flynn Rider, so you can earn multiple trust in one turn. So if you're at 8 trust, defeat Flynn Rider and discard the crown, this will put you at 11, which means you need to be fated twice, or have Flynn Rider played on you again to put you back down to 9. My final card in my top 3 is the Hairbrush. This is an obvious pick for Mother Gothel and one of her strongest cards in her deck. It's the fastest way to gain trust. Provided there are no heroes at Rapunzel's tower, you can move it every single turn, meaning you can gain a trust every single turn. Unfortunately, if you're moving the Hairbrush every turn, you're not discarding cards, so having the Hairbrush means not getting through your deck as quickly. Despite this, it's arguably the best card in Mother Gothel's deck, and you should aim to play it as quickly as possible. Most of Mother Gothel's other cards for gaining trust are situational, so Mother knows I Love You Most and Let Down Your Hair require Rapunzel to be at certain locations or for you to be at Rapunzel's location, which makes it much harder to achieve. This, you just have to be able to move it or play it to Rapunzel. So you have 2 options for this instead of just the one. Unfortunately, the Hairbrush and Crown are both targets of aging. They're both items that cost 2 or less, and they're really, really strong cards. So if your opponent draws this, they will target the Hairbrush first and probably follow up with the Crown. This is why my special mention goes to What Once Was Mine. This card is a great counter to the aging card in Mother Gothel's Fate deck. It allows you to regain any card from your discard pile with no restrictions and put it into your hand. Generally, I'll use it to regain the Hairbrush or Patchy or Sideburn Stabbington, as these are the most useful cards in the deck. However, any card that gains you trust is a useful card to have. Let Down Your Hair and I Love You Most are best played when Rapunzel is at Rapunzel's tower, so try to time them for when you need to vanquish Rapunzel, which works especially well if you have the crown at Rapunzel's location. What Once Was Mine can also be used to recover allies, should you be being overwhelmed by heroes. So essentially, What Once Was Mine allows you to make the best use of your cards. Your good cards will end up in your discard pile, and this lets you get them back, and you really, really need to get them back. So Mother Gothel's strategy is really, really hard. You need to think ahead, but you're also very limited on what cards you can play and generally have to play with the hand that you've got. This makes it challenging in 2 fronts because the 2 ideas conflict with each other. Your best goal is to find the Hairbrush, play it as soon as you can, and then if you get hold of What Once Was Mine, keep that in your hand until the Hairbrush gets discarded so that you can then play it again as soon as possible. You probably won't win if you don't play the Hairbrush. So thank you again for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget, like, comment, subscribe, and if you want to support me, become a member of Mythical Meeples or support me on Patreon. And again, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.